ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Unscripted. This is episode 6,000, God knows, and whatever. But thank you for joining up. We have Philly Sports Guy who will be with us literally in just a few minutes. And we will have Big Shaw when he gets back. But for right now, until those two individuals arrive, it's your boy Jay McLovin saying, hey, I want to tell you real quick. And I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget it on how I wanted to say it to you guys. As you know, I'm affiliated with 133 CAV, 3rd Brigade, 101st Airborne Rockasons, who I have deployed to Afghanistan with as well. I want you guys to understand today, the 101st was deployed to the Ukraine, where they will be doing missions with, I would presume, the UN. And I would like for you to keep those certain soldiers in your prayers and in your mind as they go to do the mission for the United States in which they are assigned to carry out. 101st Rockasons will get the job done. We are the most deployed. Thank you, and I appreciate all the soldiers that are doing what they do. All right, enough with that. We are going to get into some sports real quick before our Philly sports guy gets here after his beverage of choice. I just want to kind of bring up Breece Hall real quick. Tore his ACL versus the Broncos. It kind of really saddens me that Breece is no longer in the competition. As you know, Breece had a really incredible rushing and receiving stats, and he really had the Jets on the momentum. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. But no, Breece was really doing a hell of a job. He got hurt in the second quarter. He was helped off the field by medical staff. Michael Carter does, as you know, get the start nod in his place. And he was the leading rusher in 2021. So I think the Jets will be okay. They also brought in Robinson from the Jags to help shore up the running back position, even though I really don't think they had to trade for that. I think Carter was getting the job done for them. But again, that's what they decided to do. As you know, Breece was a second-round pick out of Iowa State. 391 yards, 218 receiving, 5 touchdowns. The man was running 21 miles per hour on a damn rush. Fastest guy in the NFL by far. And Breece, I want you to know that we are there with you, brother. And I'm sorry that you had to get this year out of your system. But the guy is resilient, and he said he will be back better than ever. And I believe that. Breece Hall is the real deal, folks. Breece Hall is the real deal. Mark my words on that. All right. Without any further ado, Philly Sports Guy. If you don't know who this man is, you obviously have not been in the podcasting realm for very long, right? Or you don't watch enough sports. This guy is everywhere. He's with the Sixers, the Phillies, the Eagles. He's my arch freaking nemesis, but yet a really, really good friend of mine who I love dearly. Ags, Philly Sports Guy. What's up, brother?
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And as below, you will see a blast from the past. When we first started Unscripted, it was me, Big Shaw, and Logan Landers. And Big Shaw kind of took a sabbatical, kind of did his own thing. As you can see, he has worked his way back into the fold. Oh, my God. It is so good to see his friendly face. Big Shaw, what's up, my brother?
Oh, not much, Jay. Thank you for having me, sir.
Oh, and if you don't know, Big Shaw is back with the Unscripted team, and he will be a spot fill-in as he does things that he does. But you will see Big Shaw quite often in our podcast going forward, and it's so glad to have him back. All right, folks, it is time. Tags, it's time, brother. And we're going to talk about something that I love dearly, the Phillies and the Astros. If you don't remember, the Astros used to be in the National League. And I think the best series I've ever seen in my life was 1980. Pags, I'm going to go back a little bit. 1980 when you faced us, if you remember that. And man, what a series it was. You agree?
It's still listed as the best playoff series ever in the history of playoff baseball.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I think there was a total between all of the games of what was it, like 23 lead changes.
Yeah.
Each 4 of the 5 games went to extra innings. It was like literally you know the two close. It was the two closely matched teams ever in baseball.
And how fitting is it? And again, there's so many things to talk about with how the Phillies got where they are, how the Astros got where they are, and the process in which took place. I mean, the Phillies had to go. They went through what was it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but he went through the St. Louis Cardinals, the Braves, the Padres, and then finally to the World Series. I mean, you didn't have it easy, Pags. I mean, you came in as a wild card, Pags. Your Girardi got kicked out as your manager. You brought in Thompson roughly about midway through the process. There was a point when Baum, and I hope I'm saying his name correctly, Bohm, when Baum said
Boom.
at the beginning when Girardi was there that he did not want to be with the Phillies, that he hated it. And then closer towards the end, when they were getting ready to enter the wild card, now he's like, you could take him off the Phillies if you tried, Pat.
No, and it was interesting because when you think back to it, at one point the Phillies were 19-27, and they swept the Angels. And right after sweeping the Angels, Girardi got let go, and it was 22-27, and then we went on a 12-0 run with Thompson as our manager. And it's like, would we have done that 12-0 run with Girardi? Probably not. It's like I didn't like the decisions he was making and the things he was doing, but you know, Rob Thompson's been like a breath of fresh air, and I think that when they got rid of Girardi, there was a big collective sigh of relief, not just from the Phillies, but also from Girardi. I think it was really taxing for everybody involved.
The thing about it is, I have a little bit of, well, I shouldn't say me personally, but Texas has a history with Gerard. Gerard is from Texas. That's where he's from. Just like Andy Pettit was from Deer Park, which is right down the road from where I grew up. There's a lot of, and then you look at Clemens, there's a lot of Yankee heritage that comes out of the city of Houston and the surrounding counties and cities of it. Within the organization, Girardi, I got to be honest with you, the only season that really had merit for him was in 2009. After 09, and he had a lot of good players in that damn Yankees team. I mean, honestly, he was really gifted. But after 09, I think Girardi just you kind of saw who he was, as we went forward, as we went forward, as we went forward. And I can tell you all my issues that I think within the Yankees organization that's wrong and the way that they lead that franchise. Granted, they got 26 some odd championships. So what the hell does that mean from Jason? But except, the last championship they had was 09. And that's been a long damn time since then. So I don't know if the way they were doing their business from 19 whatever until 19 in the mid 90s or 2009, but it doesn't fly anymore. And the thing about this, Pags, when Girardi came to Philadelphia, he didn't have the luxuries that he had in 2009. He had to really do some managing. And I think them getting rid of Girardi was a good thing. And I think bringing in Thompson is a better thing. And we have seen where Thompson better utilizes his lineup, his rotation, his substitutions, his play. All that thing we see differently with Thompson, and we see it in his team. And my God, if Bryce Harper's not rejuvenated, I don't know who the hell.
Absolutely. like I said, it was a collective sigh of relief from everybody involved. Like the clubhouse became fun again for these guys. They enjoyed being with each other, and there were so many different things that were being wrong, that there was wrong with the way that Girardi did things. And we all saw it, but they wanted to make for the right time to be able to let him go. And then, of course, he wins 3 games against the Angels, and then he still gets fired, which I thought was the best move that they could have done. And Thompson becomes the interim coach. Next thing you know, they go 12-0. They had another big run where they won like 12, 14 games in a row. And and now they're getting hot right at the right time. But they're about to face a buzzsaw of Houston. Houston is a really good team. And, the one thing I can say about Houston is that every team that's going undefeated in the playoffs has never won the World Series.
No, I get that. And that's the one thing that worries me. We have gone 7-0 in the playoffs. And typically, if it was any other team, I would agree with you. But I wonder if those teams that went undefeated, Pags, were as complete. When I say complete, I mean complete as a team, as the Astros are in the depth at every position and, within the starting rotation, and had a manager behind them like Dusty Baker and the experience in which Dusty Baker brings to a team.
Uh, well, I'm sure that there have been other teams out there that could do that have been that type of team. But, I mean, it's going to be a really tough test. Here's the one thing I got to say. Game 1 is going to be the most pivotal game in this series. Now, of course, after whoever wins game 1, they're going to say, well, that's not going to make game 2 to be the most pivotal for the loser. But truth of the matter is that right now, Houston is Goliath, and the Phillies are David. And if we can get that first game, that's going to get Houston thinking. And I would be surprised if that, like I said, if we were to come away with a split in, out of Houston, I don't know if Houston's ready for the electricity that you get to feel in Citizens Bank Park. It is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's just when the things happen, it makes your hair stand up. You know what I mean? It just, for me, quite
Absolutely.
literally.
Yeah. Yeah, I will tell you, we've only faced Philadelphia one time this year, and that was in Houston. And of course, you know how that went. I mean, we took Houston, we took Philly out 2 games out of 3. Your boy,
Yeah, but that second game doesn't count.
Your boy Nova took his game 1, 3-0. But again, I'm not saying that to say that because of that series. Oh well, now you can base the World Series. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: the Philadelphia Phillies have seen Houston this year one time. We've seen you guys one time. What I'm saying is this: we went to New York. We played in New York. I'm not saying that Philly is New York. I think Philly and New York are both, in their own right, tough places to play. We know Philadelphia Philly fans are nasty. We know how Philadelphia fans work. I mean, we've seen it on YouTube. We've seen it on ESPN. Trust me, I know Philadelphia got some tough fans. We all know that Philadelphia has tough fans. My thing is this. We know the Phillies have 2 strength points, Tag. We know that your strength, number 1, is in your power hitting, right? We know Schwarber, Harper, Hoskins, Realmuto. By the way, Realmuto was a great pickup for you guys. And we know what those guys bring to your lineup. We know that. We also know that you have a really good starting rotation in Nova and Wheeler and so forth. And we know Syndergaard and all those guys, Wheeler, all those guys, right? So we know that your starting rotation is phenomenal. We also know that you have great lineup hitting. But I'm going to tell you, Pags, the weakness of the Phillies is in your bullpen. And I think you know that. I think you know the weakness of your team is in your bullpen. I think you know that when Wheeler doesn't have the right rest and he gets to 80 pitches, he tends to tire out. So those are the weaknesses I see in the Phillies is your bullpen and your starting pitching and how long they can go. And I will say that Nola and Harper are the two guys that are absolutely instrumental to the Philadelphia Phillies winning the World Series. Those are going to be your two guys, right? I will also say that Dusty has number one, I think everybody knows the experience at the World Series level, at the AL level, at the NL level, and the accomplishments in which he has gotten. He knows how to utilize now his starting pitchers from where he was several years ago with Chicago and Wood and Pryor and so forth. He knows how to use the starting pitching now. He knows how to use his bullpen now. We know that the Astros got arms for days. Literally, the Astros could probably give you well over 30, 40 plus innings in a night just with their starters that they have in their Quiddy and Garcia, not to mention everybody else. So we know that the Astros got arms for days. We also know that the Astros can come at your starting hitting in several different directions. I think the Phillies are used to seeing starting pitching, you know, one, two, three, even three times in the batting order. And I hope that Dusty Baker's smart enough to not give them that opportunity. I hope they're smart enough to, okay, give me two times in the rotation and then bring in somebody else. God knows he's got the pitching to do it, where you don't see that. And I think if we can keep you guessing, if Dusty can give you multiple pitching fronts, that it's not going to allow your guys to get used to that. And I think that is the strength of the Astros. The two strengths I think the Astros bring to this team is number one, the depth of pitching, and number two is the depth of their positional players. And I think if we can get past your starters and into your bullpen, one or two runs down even, and we're in the game still no matter what. What do you think about that, Max?
I can agree with that some. I think that we do have some guys that are going to be able to pitch well bullpen. But is it going to be something they're going to be able to do for all 7 games? I doubt it. You know what I mean? It's going to require extra hands to get involved in that. It's it's going to be a tough series, and we are going to have to rely on our starting pitching much more than we're probably used to or accustomed to. But I feel that, like I said, this is where Game 1 is going to really be pivotal because
Right.
if we can chink the armor, all of a sudden, I think that Houston starts to think about, uh, you know, World Series pasts, and then they start to squeeze a little bit. What I call the hiney hole pucker. You start to squeeze a little bit more. You start to get a little bit more nervous. We're not Seattle, and Thompson's a much smarter manager. You guys should have lost Game 1. Should have. That was the manager's fault that lost that game. He also did the same thing in Game 3, lost it. Like again, doesn't know he didn't know what he was doing, and I felt that that's what cost Seattle from even making it a little bit more of a series. I thought that Game 1 is when you guys have the biggest opportunity to get beaten, and I feel like that's going to be the same way again. This is going to be, what Justin Verlander is going to be on 8 days rest,
Yes.
and that's going to be make him a little rusty. Your guys, we're all going to be on 5 days rest, which is not typical. So it's going to be interesting to see how we start off. But we need to make sure our bats are going quick. We need to get Justin out of the game as quickly as possible. The Phillies are really good at taking pitches and getting through the lineup. That those first couple of innings, usually you'll see the opposing pitchers at 50, 60 pitches. Yeah, and they're going to have to do that with Justin Verlander. They got to get his pitch count up. So they got to start working counts. Now, he's not going to throw every pitch a strike, but he's going to come out. And again, I think one of the biggest keys to winning this series is first pitch strikes. You got to go
Yeah,
and you got to be
yeah,
working
yeah.
first pitch strikes to get through this series. And that's the team that does more of that is going to win this series. And I think people like more than anything else.
Absolutely. And I think a couple of things that are pivotal for the Stros, which thank God it finally happened, is getting out on you early with the top of our order. And we all know Altuve from the Seattle series, from the New York series. I mean, he was what 0 for 25 in those series. He was really struggling in the playoffs. But what I love about it was in the last two games of the Yankees series, games 3 and 4, we saw Altuve come out of that funk, get on base, do what Altuve does. And I'm telling you, that's huge. Because Pags, baseball is all about momentum. It's all about timing. It's all about right situations. And the fact that Altuve now has a groove, and the fact that he's come out of that slump at the perfect time, really puts a warm spot in my heart because I was really concerned about the slump that he was going through and how it was going to affect us once we got to the World Series. And the fact that he's coming out of that slump and he has produced hits, he has produced RBIs, does put a better part in my soul. And I will tell you, I think the only way the Phillies beat the Astros, and I think the key to their success will be good starting pitching, obviously, but it's going to really be more on the offense. If the Phillies can get on the Astros early, that's going to be key. But they're going to have to get on the Astros more than just 2 runs. Like in order for Philly to get the win of the Astros, they've got to have at least 4 to 5 runs before you get to the seventh on the Astros. Like they have to have a good lead into the seventh to really get that. Because if you haven't watched anything from Seattle or New York series, 2 runs don't get it done. Because once we get it to your bullpen, we can come back to you in the ninth inning and have a standout. We can come back in the eighth inning and have a standout. This Astros lineup 1 through 9, actually really 1 through 8. Maldonado, if he normally gets the nod because of his game managing skills. Maldonado is a hit or miss. But I will tell you, 1 through 8, any one of these guys could put a home run on you. Any one of these guys could put a double or a single, and we've seen it. McCormick, Tucker, Meyer, Bregman, even Altuve and Alvarez will give you a base. We all know what Alvarez did against in Seattle, so we know what Alvarez is capable of. This lineup, 1 through whatever, Pena, good God, Pena is the X factor. I will tell you right now, Pena is the X factor in the Phillies and Astros because Pena will give you 3 out of 4. We've seen him go 3 out of 4 against the Yankees numerous times. And we all know what his defense is. We know what the Astros level of defense is. Pena probably should get the Gold Glove as a rookie this year. We know he got the AL MVP. I mean, this team is loaded from 1 to 9. You can't take it. You can't take a batter off. How is it, Pags? I want you to tell me specifically, how is this Phillies rotation at the starting level going to make it through 7? Because we know the Astros don't chase. The Astros are king at getting your starting pitching into big time pitches before they ever even hit the 7th.
Well, like I said, it's going to be first pitch strikes, making sure that you get ahead of these batters right away. And then like I said, that's why game 1 is so very important. We have to put them on their heels a little bit. Once you chink the armor, once the armor's chinked, all of a sudden life could get a little nervous for you guys. And that's what we need to have happen. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a tough series. I don't expect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody thinks that Houston's going to sweep this series. I don't think there's a chance in hell for that.
No, I have. If you watch me on Facebook, I talk to all the Astro haters and what we did through the Yankees what we did to Seattle. I have no expectations of that with Philadelphia because you guys are on the same path as the Braves took last year. If you remember the Braves of last year, these guys were an all-star. They were a wild card team that worked their way and, of course, got to the World Series. And ultimately, we lost, to a wild card team. So I don't put nothing past Philadelphia Phillies. If anything, I'll tell you, Pags. I feel like you have gone through a much tougher gauntlet of teams from the wild card round, and that's why I listed all the teams. Right, you went to the Cards, who we know were damn good. The Braves, who we know what they had in their hitting rotation, to the Padres. For love of God, they had a great rotation. They had great hitting. They had Juan Soto, for crying out loud, which was the Astros killer, if you remember, back when Washington Nationals and the Astros were in the World Series.
Yep.
He's the one that killed the Astros. So for you to get past the Padres, I know exactly what this team is capable of doing. And I have no intentions of ever thinking that the Astros would sweep the Padres. I don't think that's a realistic outcome. I think the best outcome, and Pags, I'm going to get your as we end this segment, I'm going to get your opinion as well. I had the Astros in 6. I would not be surprised if it was Astros in 7, but at the earliest, I would have Astros in 6. What is your outcome of your team?
I think that if I think the Phillies do it in 5, or else this series goes 7. That we're going to have to take it. That, like I said, we got to get the split in Houston, that first game, and then we got to get the first game in Philly. And if we do that, there's a possibility we can win it in 5. Now, is that guaranteed? No. And I think that if we don't do it in 5, the series goes 7. And at that point, it's when I think of a game 7, and I think of all the ramifications that happen in a game 7, and how it's going to go back and forth, and everybody's available then. There ain't nobody who's going to take a day off that day. If you're a pitcher,
Right.
I don't care
Right.
if your arm is half hanging off, you're going to try to throw that. And it's going to be a very interesting game 7. These two teams have a lot of history, and I know that there ain't nobody that remembers it short of us two. And anybody who's, like I said, I just turned 50 years old. I was 8 years old when that series happened. But I also remember in 79 and in 78 and 77 how the Astros would knock us out of the playoffs before, instead of getting in. So this is going to be a very, very interesting series. I'd love to feel super confident, but it's going to be what it is. Like I said, I think we could do it in 5 if we get to you guys. But if it doesn't happen in 5, it definitely goes 7 games.
It's funny you said you're 50. If you don't mind me asking real quick, I just got to know what month did you turn 50 in?
I just turned 50 a couple days ago.
Hey, I'm older than you. How you like them apples?
There you go. Most of the time, I'm the old man of the group. So.
Hey, no. Hey, listen, I turned 50 in September, so you got me. I got you by maybe a month, but I'll tell you, Pags, you look a hell of a lot better at 50 than I do. So just take that as a win. Okay. You look younger than I do. So you're good. You're good. No, hey, honestly, when I look at this Phillies series, and I was telling Logan this the other day, I feel like it's gonna be the strength of your lineup in terms of hitting versus the strength of our bullpen. And I think if our bullpen can do what they do, and hopefully our starting pitching will at least keep you at bay, then I feel like we have a fighting chance. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything turns out. Either way, Pags, I got to be honest with you, man. I think this is going to be a damn good series. I think we're all going to be on pins and needles. And whoever wins it is not going to get it easy. I think it's going to be a fight all the way to the end. Would you agree?
I do agree, and there's going to be a lot of you know uh, I can imagine there's going to be a lot of hate from what happened in 2017. That
Oh
there's
yeah,
that I wouldn't be surprised if somebody in Philadelphia brings in a trash can, and starts banging the trash can and things like that. Philadelphia fans are definitely a special breed of people. And I think I find them as the best fans in the world. We will see how
yeah. I don't
Houston.
know, Pags. Have you seen our fans lately? Have you seen Houston fans? Houston, don't discount Houston, man. Hey, we all up on this. I know Philadelphia kind of gets the we're the nasty fans, whatever, but the aggressiveness of Astro fans don't let us fool you, Pags. We're pretty aggressive down here in Houston as well. And
Well,
I
and I
think
know
you'll
that,
see
and
that.
I know
I
that.
know
I
you're
know a
at
number
game
of
one.
Houston people. I know a number of Houston super fans and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, like when I think of Houston, I think of the Texans and the team. How many super fans that they have as part of that.
Right.
And then there's, obviously the Astros have been doing pretty well. They've been getting to all these World Series. They've only won one. So and of course that one came with a caveat to it. So it's going to be very interesting because this team there's what 4 or 5 people that are from that team on this team now. This is a whole new team
Yeah.
from that year. So
Well, that
it's
was back
it's
in the day when the Astros and Leno had a connection with Philly, and we would swap picks back and forth, damn near almost on the regular. So, for those you don't know, Philly and Houston have been connected for a hot minute. I will say this, man. I think when you go to Houston, you're going to have a good time down there, Pags. I think while you're there, and you're going to have a hell of a good game on game one, man. And for Houston fans, y'all don't beat up Pags. Leave Pags alone. He just down there doing his job.
hey 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 they got to pack a lunch because I'm pretty good. And like I said, I got thick skin. I can take it. So
Hey, don't
uh,
worry. Hey, I'm glad, and I know you do. And Houston will, Houston's not going to be like me. I will tell you, man. Hey, Houston fans, we may be very on our team, but we are nice people. So I think you'll get a warm hospitality, but you're going to get your ass whooped in game one. And that's the way I see that going down. However, Pags, real quick, I know I only got you for 45 minutes. I think I got like 10 minutes left on the clock, and I know you got to get out of here. My last thing is with the Eagles. I want to just talk a little bit of Eagles. As a Cowboys fan, I want to talk a little bit of Eagles with you. How do you see? Do you see you guys? We know what you did against Dallas last go around. You beat us with Cooper Rush. We know what Cooper Rush, uh, what he did and did not do for the Dallas team. But how do you see the Philadelphia Eagles going the rest of the journey? And what do you see them doing in the playoffs, right? We all know that Philadelphia, if you look at any power rankings, is going to have Philadelphia number one. There's no doubt in my mind. But then again, we also have the Dodgers, the Yankees, whatever, ranked number one. So I don't know if number one really matters. What I'm asking you is in your heart of hearts, if you look at the NFL, do you really believe that the Eagles are the best team, bar none, and nobody's taking them away from a Super Bowl, or do you think that there's going to be a struggle to get to the Super Bowl?
I don't know that it'll be a struggle. I think that the Eagles will lose all the games that they don't remain focused for. I feel that as long as they are focused, they'll win every game. I think they are the most complete team. We've only been down for, I think, a total of 12 minutes this entire season. And that that concerns me a little bit. I uh, I think of this week against Pittsburgh as a very important game in terms of staying focused. You got to remain cannot you cannot just go in there sniffing yourself.
Right.
And there
Absolutely.
could be a lot of that. And that's why I feel like this is a little bit of a trap game for us where they could it's possible that the Eagles lose this week because they just aren't focused. And we'll see.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, when you hear everybody talking about you, oh, you're the best team out there, you're the only undefeated team, blah 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 blah. It starts to get in your head, and then at that
Yeah.
point, that's where you start to get, you know, when you start overthinking things, you wind up losing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got, one thing I wanted for Shaw to, is, Shaw, correct me if I'm wrong, man. You're a New Orleans Saints fan, correct?
No, sir. Cleveland Browns.
Brown. Well, okay. I wasn't sure if it was the Browns or if it was the Browns or the Saints. But real quick, man, hey, because we got to get into a little bit of Yankees and then we got to move on. But obviously Pags is a Philadelphia fan, and he's also in pretty much everything Philadelphia. I kind of grilled him a little bit on from the Astros side of things. What question from the New York Yankees and so forth side that you provide? What do you have for Pags? Because he's getting ready to get out of here. That's me and you. But do you have any questions for Pags relevancy to any Philadelphia sport there is?
I love Philadelphia. The Sixers, the Philadelphia 76ers, man, are they going to have a good season? Because they look horrible.
I think everything with time. The reason why they look horrible is because I'm too busy having other places. I ain't been to their games yet.
Oh, that's why. You're right. We need to get to a game. I like Philadelphia, though. I like everything Philadelphia. I think they're going to win the World Series in 5.
Oh, Phillies, yeah.
They're going to win in 5.
Hey, he's only saying that because he's a Yankees fan and he got
I'm a Yankees fan.
I know he's and I know that they're going to be like every other state. I can only imagine Texas is going to root for Houston, and everybody else is going to be rooting for the Phillies.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You laugh, man, but that's true, man. Every Facebook post I've had out there is just filled with Philly fans, man. And hey, no doubt about it, man. Hey, Phillies, like I said, are going to give us a tough run for our money. I think you're right. I don't think the Sixers are going to just stay at this 0-3 situation. They're going to right their ship. They're going to get on point. Like I said, PJ Tucker, you guys acquired. He's a junkyard dog. He gives a little bit of tenacity to your defense, and toughness, which I think you need to go along with Embiid. So I expect them to right that ship. We know what the Eagles are going to do, Pags. You guys are sitting in a really good spot, to be honest with you, man. Again, I know your time is valuable. I know you got things to do, so I'm going to let you go. But I want to say, number one, thank you for coming on this show, man. I love you. I appreciate everything you do. And I do want you to come on again at the end of the World Series, and we'll do a post-World Series wrap-up, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I would love to do that, and tell you all about how we beat Houston at the end of this. Every time I make a prediction on this show, it comes true.
That's right.
This scares me, Pags, but I'm so willing to have you on anyway.
So,
but your predictions do come true, which do automatically scare me. So, with that having been said, Pags, please don't voice it. Keep it up to yourself. Go in the private chat, because I do know the power that the Philly sports guy has when he makes predictions, and I just want a fair chance. That's all I want.
Hey, I think you guys are going to get your fair chance, but like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me for the Phillies to win in 5. I think that if they don't win in 5, it'll go to 7. So I think it's going to be too tough of a series.
Now I'm screwed.
There we go. That's because I want to be there for the clincher in Game 5. Because ultimately, after that, I got to go run back down to Houston anyways for the Eagles game.
Oh, that's right, you do. Oh, wow.
So
What a time to be
I'm a
alive.
busy
Again,
guy this week. I'm a very busy guy. Friday I'll be down in Houston. Saturday I got to come back, so I'll be watching the game here. Sunday is Eagles Steelers. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, World Series. Thursday down in Houston for the Eagles, and then possibly Friday and Saturday for the World Series. Or we could win it in Game 6, and then I can come back up here to watch the Union win the first MLS Cup here in Austin.
nice. So there you have it. Now you know what Philly sports guy is for the next week and a half. You guys got to check out Pags. I love Pags. Philly sports guy. You don't have to search hard for him. I swear to God, if you go to Google, you just type in Philly sports guy, he will lay out before you like a wider range, and there'll be everything you want to know about Philly sports guy. Just type in don't even worry about just type in Philly sports guy. Swear to God,
Yeah, but if
everything
you're on
comes
social
up.
media, on any social media, just definitely type in the because there's a lot of fake ones out there. You want the real deal. That's why I'm the Philly sports guy.
Philly sports guy. But if you're Google, I'm just saying, hey, if you're Google,
Yeah, if you're Googling, you
Philly
could do
sports
it.
guy
But if you're
gets
on
there.
social media, you definitely want to hit the.
Yeah, if you're on social media, you might want to put the in front of it. But Pags,
Correct.
man, again, man, I love you, brother, and thank you for coming on. And we will have you on at the end of the series. And it's going to be fun talking with you again, my brother. Enjoy your endeavors tonight. Stay safe and don't do anything too crazy.
Not tonight. I got too busy a week ahead of me. So everybody have a good one. Thank you for having me on, and I'll see you real soon. Take
Yes,
care.
sir. Be good, brother. All right, folks, that was Philly sports guy, man, talking everything Philadelphia, man. You know what the World Series is going to bring, and it's going to be amazing to see where this goes within the next 7 to 8 days. However, to comment real quick before we get into NFL, I want Shaw to tell me again why Houston Astros are garbage and the New York Yankees are everything better than sliced bread. Shaw, you got about 3 seconds.
We're talking about New York Yankees.
That's the only one I know, brother. The ones that got swept with the broom.
It was a great season. It was a great season. I don't know. I don't know what happened. They just ran out of real estate. And, the Astros, they got their number, and the Yankees couldn't do nothing about it. Broke my heart.
That's what I'm really mostly concerned with. I mean, the past is a past. There's nothing we can do about that. But more so with the Yankees, I want to talk about their future and where they go. Number one, do you keep Cashman? Number two, do you keep Aaron Boone? And number three, what do you do about the starting rotation? Not even so much the starting rotation. I think the starting rotation is fine. What do you do about the bullpen going forward?
Well, Jay, I'm a Yankees fan. If I was the GM, I'm tired of getting my butts whooped by the Astros. I hate to say it, Jay, I would clean house in New York.
Put yourself one step higher. If you're Steinbrenner's son, Stan, is that his name? George's son? I can't remember what his name is, but Steinbrenner's son, the owner of the Yankees, what do? Do you keep Cashman or do you let Cashman go? And do you completely clear house or do you just partially clear house?
I'm cleaning house. Jay. We got beat by the Astros too many damn times. It's gotta clean house. That's just me. If I was the GM,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think?
Yeah.
Look, you can look at
I will clean house.
Cashman, but I think the problem with the Yankees at this point is I think Cashman is their ultimate problem.
Yeah, that is true. So I just clean house, Jay.
Is a derivative of Cashman.
Yeah, I just clean house. Clean house.
That's what the Yankees have to do. I think the Yankees have to clean house.
Yes, I think so, Jay. I really do, man. I hate to say it. Like I said, the Astros, they've been kicking our butt. So they The Yankees have to do something. And I apologize, I'm a little bit under the weather too, but they have to do something.
I think keeping Judge is fine. I think keeping Bader is even fine. Cole is fine. Cortez is fine. You got some key pieces. It's really that bullpen, I think, that you have to reevaluate and who you put in your bullpen. Because that's really what hurt me against Astros. It wasn't the hitting. It wasn't the starting rotation. It was the bullpen. Once we got into your bullpen, that's when we made our money. And I think that's where the Yankees really need to focus is on their bullpen.
Yeah, they got to fix it, Jay. They got to fix it.
All right. Real quick, we'll go back to Geno Smith. We're going to get a little bit of NFL. Geno Smith. Is it time to put some respect on Geno Smith's name? midway point in the season, he's got the highest rater. He's got the highest rated passing rating in the NFC. He's left the football community back in 2013 when he came with the Jets. They kind of put him to the wolves. They kind of didn't give him the support. The football community kind of wrote off Geno Smith as basically a bust. He slides over eventually to Seattle, where they finally trade Russell Wilson. He steps into the limelight, and he's got the highest scoring offense, the 8th highest scoring offense. We know that Seattle does not have an O-line per se to speak of. He's a 38th highest paid QB. But again, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, a 119 deep route quarterback rating, a 117 quarterback rating on third down efficiency. I think that he never got a fair shake with the Jets, but I feel like in Seattle, he's finally showing you what Geno Smith can do. What do you think about Geno Smith, and is it time to put respect on him?
Well, speaking on the Von part, I always believe in Geno Smith. Let's say, this is my honest opinion. I really do think Geno Smith was a good quarterback. I just think he needed the opportunity. Again, I never put the bomb status on him. He just needed the opportunity, and Seattle got rid of Russell Wilson, which I want to talk about that shortly. He's a very good quarterback. He may not be a superstar. He may not be a star. He may not be that guy. But I think that people should start putting respect on Geno Smith's name. He's not a bad quarterback. But I have to be careful on what I say about the Seahawks because of my location. So I just don't see Seattle going too far. But I think they'll make the playoffs. But I don't think they're gonna go too far. But Geno Smith, he's having a great season. But not to get off topic, but I do want to say this. Man, Russell Wilson, it's just crazy, man, how everybody thought Denver was going to be that team. And a lot of people was like, no, they're not. I don't think maybe it may be true. I don't think Russell Wilson has it anymore. That's just my honest opinion. I don't think Russell Wilson is that guy that he once was in Seattle in his early time. So, but Geno, he's the man. I support him. I've been supporting him since he was in West Virginia. So he got the opportunity, and I think he's going to continue to do a good job.
I'm going to put my pin in on the Russell Wilson situation, because I got some things to say about that. But what till we get to this NFL Week 7, Week 8 profile to get into that. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say at the end about the opening remarks was this. I look at the top 10 pitchers in the MLB that are free agents. They're available next year. And we know that pitching is a big thing getting ready to come up next year in free agency. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is how I rank the top 10 pitchers that are going to be available to us once free agency opens up. I got DeGrom at number 1. I got Verlander number 2. I got Carlos Rondon at number 3, Kershaw at number 4, Martin Martin Perez at number 5. I got Jose Quintana at number 6. I got Nathan Eovaldi at number 7. Tyler Anderson at number 8. Andrew Henney at number 9. And then ultimately at number 10, I got Chris Bassett. Those are my top 10 available pitchers going into free agency next year. Now, do I think DeGrom is going to be available? No. I think the Mets get a deal done. Do I think Verlander's going to be available? Probably not. I think the But Kershaw, again, I think LA. But a lot of these guys are still going to be out there. What do you think about that list? And is there anybody that you think should be higher in the list, lower in the list, or added to the list, Rob?
Well, I like Kershaw. I like him. Jay, I like your list. I like it. Have to say this is the first time I agreed with you. I like it.
It doesn't happen often, right?
No, it don't happen often.
But that's why I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So that's the top 10 pitchers. I think going into next season, that we're going to look at who equates to what in terms of how they can rebuild their teams going into the 2023 World Series and who is available. We're going to get into this recap real quick. We're going to make it brief. I'm going to ask Shaw a series of questions, and we're going to go from there. So we know that, a little bit short in preseason. A lot of people were on the Bengals often and early about not being a great team, not seeing the Super Bowl ever again. I was trying to tell people, hey, wait a minute, hold on. Put a pause on it. I think that the Bengals are just going to need time to, readjust, calibrate. They'll jump back into it. I thought the division they're in is going to allow them to do that. And, of course, if you know anything, the Bengals are tied for first in their division. I believe it's with the Ravens. Again, that Burrow got off to a rough start, but we know that he's also, stepped his game up to do really well. Again, they're tied for first. Like I said, with the Ravens, they appear to be settling in. Do you see the Cincinnati Bengals making a push to get back into the Super Bowl standings, or do you think that they will fade out with the other teams that are available in the AFC, like the Chiefs and the Bills and so forth?
Well, as we all know, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. There's nothing positive that I can say about Cincinnati. I hope they fizzle out and they don't make the playoffs. But I will say this, though. I do like Joe Burrow. I have learned to put respect on his name. But I'm going to take it back. I'm just joking. I do think the Bengals will be on top of that division. But I will say this, that he's a bad man. I don't care what no one says. If you don't think Joe Burrow is the real deal, you don't know football. I really do think the Bengals will be on top of that division. They're getting hot at the right time. I don't know their schedule yet, but I do think the Bengals will continue to push forward and be a force in that division. But with my Cleveland Browns, I know, Jay, this is we don't have much time, I'm sure, but I'm waiting for Deshaun Watson to come back. It's just crazy how he's coming back against Houston. I think that's kind of crazy, man. How they played out to he comes back against Houston, but the Bengals, I really do think they're going to be a force.
And the second thing is, Dak made his comeback versus. Oh, by the way, correction. You do know that the Bengals and Browns got the Monday night game. So you're going to see them Bengals and the Browns going at it on Monday night. So that should be a really good game to watch. Secondly, we know Dak is making his comeback, or did make his comeback, versus the Lions. He had a very pedestrian 19 of 25, 207 and a touch. To get that win, 24-6. We know that Cooper Rush had a really rough game against Philly. What do you think is going to be on the radar when Dallas meets with Philly again and Dak is at the helm? Is it going to be the same thing, a loss, or do you think Dallas can get the win over Philly with Dak?
Philly is gonna beat them. It's not. It's. I think I may be wrong, but I think Philly has the top secondary in the NFL. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Cowboys will be in trouble. It's gonna be a bad game. Philly gonna beat Dallas, and it's not gonna be by a field goal. I don't think Dallas has the secondary to handle what Philadelphia has. They got Brown, you got Devontae, you got Hurts. You got to deal with. He's playing really well too. But it's gonna be a good game. Is that game gonna be in Dallas or Philly?
Should be in Philly.
Oh well.
This question. They brought the Cowboys just traded for Hankins, which we know is a good run stopper.
Yeah.
We know that Cooper Rush in that loss turned the ball over. He turned it over 3 times, 2 times over in Dallas's territory.
Yeah.
Giving Philadelphia short yardage to get their scores. We know that Dak doesn't turn the ball over like that. You don't think that's going to be a factor and giving the Dallas a little bit more benefit to pull off that win?
No, Jay, I know you're a Cowboys fan, but Jay, I tell you this: I give the Cowboys, the Cowgirl fans, Cowgirl Nation, benefit of the doubt. If they're going to beat Philadelphia, they're going to have to beat Philly for the whole 4 quarters. You can't give Philadelphia any type of ways to come back and win that game. You have to beat Philadelphia, and you have to beat them early, and you got to keep your foot on their butts. Because if you don't, it can turn out to a long, long, long day in Philadelphia. But if Dallas don't improve and keep getting better and keep winning games, I think Dallas is just gonna be in trouble. I like Dak Prescott. He's a really good quarterback, but I just don't see them beating Philly. I just don't think so. But if Dallas do win, you gotta beat Philadelphia early. You can't let them come back. You can't make mental mistakes. You just can't let Philadelphia win the game. But Jay, I think Philly's gonna get them at the end.
So my next question is in regards to the Packers when they played the Washington Commanders. We know that obviously the Packers lost 23-21.
Yeah.
Is the problem in Green Bay Aaron Rodgers, which we know in that game he went 23 of 35 for 194, 2 touchdowns and 2 fumbles. But yet we also know that Green Bay only rushed for 38 yards. My question is the problem in Green Bay Matt LaFleur play calling, or is it Aaron Rodgers' performance?
Ooh, that's a good question, Jay. We know everything is always the coach's fault. We know that. Everything is always the coach's fault, but the coach is not on the field. Aaron Rodgers is on the field. Now, he is one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. He is right there on the Mount Rushmore. If he's not, shame on you. I like Aaron Rodgers, but everything starts with the coach. That's where everything starts with. Everything starts at the coach. I do think, he can open up their playbook a little bit more, but Aaron Rodgers really don't have anyone to throw it to, But he's doing the best, that he can with who he has. And I've seen a lot of people in the podcast world, Aaron Rodgers is washed up. He's done. He's not done. He's not washed up. Aaron Rodgers got a little bit more time to go. I just think that open their playbook more, spread it out, get a running game going, because you just can't throw it all the time. You got to get a running game going, and that's what Green Bay needs to run the ball.
But I think the issue with that is that the issue they had with Rodgers saying it was over is because they felt like on the sideline, his expressions, his mannerisms, the way he was dealing with the loss or being behind, was that he just didn't care anymore. Like it was like nonchalant for him. Like they didn't see a competitive fire in Aaron Rodgers. So I think they made that preconceived notion about it.
Yeah.
My second question is, if it goes to the Bucks and Panthers, good God, the Panthers destroyed the Bucks. 21
they did. Yeah, they did.
Some of the things we know is, number one, there was no McCaffrey. McCaffrey's with the 49ers.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay rushed for 46 yards. Now the Bucks are 3 for 4. They've lost several games. Is it time for Tom Brady to should he retire and just try to salvage his marriage, or should he press on? Even though, granted, Tampa Bay is tied for first, but we know it really doesn't mean a whole lot.
No.
What's your call?
I think Tom. I was asked this before. I think Tom Brady's going to be fine. I really do. I don't think it was just a bad game. Maybe his divorce getting to him, possibly could be, but I really do think Tom Brady's going to be fine. I don't see them falling off like this again. I think Tom Brady, he got on the offensive lineman. Yes, he did, but he has to look at himself as well. Are you okay to play? Is a divorce? Is it in your head? Is it bothering you? Is something going on? Do you need some days off? Because you can't afford to keep, losing games. Again, if it's something going on, I think Tom Brady should take some time off, to refocus and get his head back in the game. But when they lost to Carolina, I said there's something wrong. That's the first thing I said. I said something has got to be wrong with Tom Brady, and they need to figure it out and see what they need to do before, you lose 3 or 4 or 5 more games. Then you're going to start pointing fingers, who's to blame. So if I was Tom Brady, I would make a decision, rather, now or later before it gets too bad. You don't want to bring your personal life on the field. But it's Tom freaking Brady, so it's going to be everywhere. So I think he's going to be fine. But it's going to be everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so that was pretty much the recap for the most part of the teams that I thought actually mattered in the recap, to be honest with you. Let's look at this preview for a little bit, and then we'll get on with the rest of the show. The only thing I'm going to ask you is a couple of key questions. Number one, we know that the Jags traded Robinson, the running back, to the Jets to help offset that Breece Hall injury.
Yeah.
How do you see the Jets going forward next week against the Patriots? And even beyond the Patriots, I mean, just how do you see them? Don't really so much focus on the Patriots, but how do you see them in terms of being the number 2 team behind the Bills? How do you see this as their long term?
Well, Jay, I said before the start of the NFL season, I said the Jets will be a dark horse team. And Jay, I tell you what, I got laughed at. You name it. Oh, you're crazy. I said, I'm telling you, the Jets will be a dark horse. I'm starting to believe in Zach Wilson just a little tad bit. I don't want to get too excited. But I'm starting to get behind him. I'm starting to see the guy that we, been talking about since he got drafted. I'm starting to believe in him now. The Jets, Jay, I'm telling you, the Jets is going to beat some teams this year. And if they do make the playoffs, and if they don't slip up, and if we don't start bragging on them too much, the Jets may do a lot of shocking, Jay. The Jets has been doing a lot of slick stuff, so I can see the Jets getting up there, Jay. Watch out for them.
My next question is: we know for the Chargers, Mike Williams' ankle, he's going to be out for several games.
Yeah.
J.C. Jackson, their cornerback,
he's trash.
Knee out or should be the rest of the season. How does this affect the Chargers going into the rest of the season, knowing that they're probably one game back of the Chiefs in that division?
Oh man, I think Keelan Allen. Is he still out too?
Yeah, he should be back shortly, but he's still out.
Oh geez,
Keenan Allen is back. No, Keenan Allen is back.
Okay, well you got one weapon back, but I haven't been really following the Chargers as much, but I have been keeping up with a little bit. Dang, Jay, it's good. I hate the Chargers too. So, Jay, I hope the Chargers can figure it out.
A wild card team? Do you think they're able to make the wild card with what they have in place? We know that Justin Herbert, even though he's not quote unquote out, he is dealing with some rib type injuries or something in that chest area and injuries. So no, Herbert's not fully all the way 100. No. Do you at least have the Chargers making the wild card?
Well, if he's not too hurt and if he's not too injured, Jay, I can see the Chargers in the wild card. He's your leader. He's the guy. I don't know who they have backing him up, but I think with a healthy Herbert, I think the Chargers could get into a wild card. But you got to have your quarterback healthy. You got to have all your players healthy. You got to have Williams back. You got to have all your guys back to make a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The next thing I want to turn my attention to is, again, the 49ers. We know McCaffrey last week really wasn't truly effective. He did give you 38 yards rushing, I think 24 yards receiving. Very, very pedestrian numbers by his standards. We know that week 8, the 49ers are going against the Rams. Two questions. Number one, who gets the win in that game? And number two, how effective will McCaffrey be?
Oh, man, that's a heated rivalry, Jay. That's a very heated rivalry right there.
Yeah,
I'm a big Aaron Donald fan. It's going to be a toss-up, but I'm going to go with the Rams.
Right. How effective do you think McCaffrey will be in that game?
They're going to stop him, Jay. They're going to stop him. Now, I don't think Christian McCaffrey is that running back that he once was, which he's not. So I don't see him as being a threat. I don't see how most people see him. I just don't see him as being a threat anymore. But I think the Rams will stop him.
All right, I'm going to give you 3 games, and all I want is who you think wins. Thursday, Ravens-Bucks. Who wins?
Ravens-Bucks. Man, Jay, that's another good one. I'm going to go with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I can't go against Tom Brady. I just can't, Jay.
I'm definitely going to Ravens, so I'm going to, for the sake of it, I'm going to write this down.
Yeah, write it down. I can't go against Tom Brady.
I got to write that down because we are split, but that's a very, very critical game. So I think it's important that we write that down. Secondly, the second game is Cards-Vikings. Who do you have winning?
Vikings.
Yeah, I went for the Vikings too, so I'll give you that. Patriots-Jets.
Well, Jay, the way the Patriots lost to the Bears, of all people. Yeah. Mac Jones got benched, but the head coach tried to play it off. He got benched. Now the backup quarterback that came in, I can't remember his name, but he played well when he came in.
Happy.
Okay, he played very well.
Remember, happy makes us happy. That's how you remember it.
Yeah. So Jay, but I'm going to go with the Jets, and I will say this: that Sauce Gardner guy. Woo! Please watch out for that, man. I said this again. Draft night, I said whoever gets Sauce Gardner, they're gonna have a superstar in the making, and that man is playing well, Jay.
Well, he's definitely electrifying that secondary.
Yeah, don't be surprised if he mess around and get 2 or 3 interceptions in that game. He's a very great cornerback. He's going to be a superstar in the near future. I'm telling you.
All right, here comes a question for you. We know that the Colts have had several high-profile quarterbacks within the last year or two come through there after Andrew Luck called it a day and retired. We know that Phillip Rivers was 1. We know that Carson Wentz was number 2. And now we are on Matt Ryan at 3. We know Matt Ryan recently suffered a shoulder separation. We also know that Matt Ryan was very, very turnover prone. That even if he had not had the turnover, or even if he had not had the shoulder separation, Frank Reich already had made the decision that they were going to roll with Ellinger, the quarterback out of Texas, Sam Ellinger, as their new starter, and see what that could do for the team or spark anything. How do you see that working out for them? And you know that his first start next week is against the Washington Commanders. Carson Wentz, which we know was the quarterback let go last year from the Colts. So there's a lot of blood going left and right. Carson Wentz against his old team. Sam Ellinger getting his first career start. How do you see this unfolding?
Well, I don't think Carson Wentz will be playing. I think he's injured. I don't think he's gonna be playing against the Colts.
Right. Heineken actually getting a start.
He's gonna play the better.
You got Heineken. God, I love a name like Heineken because it sounds like Heine and it sounds like Heineken. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
How do you see that Rams Colts? How do you think Sam Ellinger is going to perform against that Washington defense? And who gets the win?
It has changed. Young came back there for the Commanders. I sure haven't been hearing his name very much this year. Jay, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That's gonna be probably a really boring game.
I think so as well.
I really don't see that game really being, a oh my God type of game. Matt Ryan, we know what kind of quarterback he is, but I just don't see that game really being too good. But now if I had to pick a winner, I would go just throw it up. I would go with Washington.
Okay. I know you picked the Rams over the Niners, so I'm not going to go with that game. We're going to give you 3 other games, and then you just give me the team that you think wins. Giants, Seahawks.
Oh, Jay. Where's this game going to be?
And I believe it's in Seattle.
Oh, Jay. Again, I gotta be very careful because I'm surrounded by Seahawks fans. So I like what's going on in New York with the Giants. I really do. Danny Dimes, he's doing his thing. Barkley, he's back. He's getting there. But Jay, the 12th man, I mean, you really can't go against that, Jay. So I really do think that the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith will beat the New York Giants in Seattle.
Question, one caveat. Metcalf is out with injury. You still feel that way?
Yes. Lockett got to step up.
Just checking. Next game, Packers versus Bills. I would imagine as a rational person, you're probably going to say Bills. Would I be correct?
Well, man, you can't go against Josh Allen. You can't go against Aaron Rodgers.
If you say Packers, I'm writing it down.
I've learned my lesson to not to go against Aaron Rodgers at times. He's not a Tom Brady on the sideline. He's cool, calm, and collected. But hey, I just can't do it, Jay. I just can't go against him. I like Aaron Rodgers.
I'll put you down for the Bills, which I had the Bills too. I don't think that in any way, shape, or form.
Aaron Rodgers is going to tear that butt up Sunday.
I think if you would have said Packers, I would have been on you like white on rice.
Oh, yeah, I said Packers. Green Bay's going to get them. Yeah. Mark my words, Jay. Aaron Rodgers, is going to have a better.
No. So you're telling me, I want to make sure
I'm telling you, Jay. I'm telling you right now.
Packers over the Bills.
Yes, sir. You're hearing it right here, Jay. I don't care what Bill Mafia has.
What about what I'm hearing?
Write that down.
Oh, trust me, it's written.
Yes.
It's written. Trust me. It's already in the book.
Write
Y'all got the Packers. Trust me.
Aaron Rodgers is a bad man.
Yeah, okay, he's not that bad, but let's continue mission. Bengals versus Browns. I believe you picked the Bengals in that. Am I correct?
No, Jay. No, sir. I'm going to go on my Browns.
So I'm putting you down that the Browns are going to beat the Bengals.
Yeah. That's right. Jay, I'm dedicated.
Hey, trust me, you're in the books. You're in the books for Browns defeating the Bengals. My next question to you, Shaw, is simply this. Can the Eagles go undefeated into the playoffs?
No.
Yeah?
They will not go undefeated. They will not go. They will lose one game, Jay. You have their schedule?
Well, I can tell you the toughest teams that are on that schedule is Green Bay, New York, and Dallas.
Okay. So they played Dallas twice this year, right?
Yeah, they got to play Dallas one more time. I believe it's on the 16th week that they play them.
They're going to lose one game, Jay. They're going to lose at least one.
Okay. No, that's fine. I kind of had them losing at least one as well. So I would be surprised myself if they go undefeated all the way out. However, in a comma, I will tell you that they do have a favorable opportunity to go undefeated. Not that they will, but they do have a favorable schedule to support that.
The Giants do too.
Oh, I get it. Hey, well, they can't go undefeated because they already lost a game. But yeah, I get it. They do have a favorable schedule. You're right. Shaw, out of week 8, what is your upset for the week? Is your upset going to be Packers Bills? Who's your upset game for the week of week 8?
Seattle, not Seattle. Green Bay, Buffalo.
So you have even though you picked Green Bay to win. Okay. Oh, that's right, because you picked Green Bay to win. So that's your upset. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right, man. You are in the books for that. There you have it, folks. That's Shaw.
Hold on. I will say this. I do want to say this. My Portland Trail Blazers is 4-0. Jay, if y'all not watching basketball, we got games on right now. The Trail Blazers look really, really, really good. Same for the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, they lost that game, but they look really good. The LA Lakers are just trash. I don't know what's going on in LA, but the Portland Trail Blazers, Jesus Christ. If you haven't seen them play or you haven't went to a game, I advise y'all to go see them play. Man, Jay,
Portland is definitely doing well. So is Utah Jazz. We'll get into that in just one sec. I got 2 more segments. We'll talk a little bit of NBA at the end, and then we'll get out of here. So hold on. Bruce Bochy, as you know, the 3-time World Series champion with the Giants. That was 2010, 2012, and 2014. So some very recent World Series wins with the Giants, has now taken over as the new head coach, manager, whatever, of the Texas Rangers. You know the Texas Rangers have had 6 consecutive losing seasons. So you know that they definitely need a skipper that can rebuild them back into where they need to be. And this, I think, is the guy. You know, Bochy retired in 2019 just so he could, he's about 67 years old. I think he was 64 at the time when he retired. But I think he's kind of got the itch again. So he wants to come back. He wants to, get back into the scheme of things again. So currently the Rangers are $500 million tied up in Corey Seager as a shortstop, second baseman Marcus Semien, and then starting rotation pitcher John Gray. So they got $500 million signed into those three individuals. So they got lots and lots of work to do financially to rebuild this team. My question is, I think Bruce Bochy Shaw was the right guy to bring in. I think you need a guy that can restore the culture back into this team of what winning looks like. And I think he's the guy to do it. Do you have any reservations to Bochy taking over this job? And then what do you project or what do you think of the Rangers going forward from here?
Well, Jay, I kind of forgot the Rangers had a baseball team. I don't know, Jay. It's just hard, man, because the Rangers been poop for a very, very long time. Can he bring the championship culture back to the Rangers? To the Rangers? Man, Jay, I'll give him a chance. It's gonna be tough, Jay, because dang, I really forgot they had a baseball team. Nobody talks about it. But I'll give him a chance, Jay. I will give him a chance, a fair chance.
I think this is probably the best chance they've had in a very long, long while. I think a couple of things, right? I think number one, you have a World Series winning coach. When I say World Series winning, I mean 2014. That's what, 8 years removed. So very, very still recent. Still a very well recent, relevant to the game manager in Bochy. So I think number one, you hired, I believe, the right guy to change a culture. Number two, I think that if you can work the finances, work the players, work your farm system in a way that will exasperate the chances of getting back. But mostly, I think the manager and the owner have to be on the same page, as well as the players that they plan on retaining, of how they're going to go from A to Z. Z being the World Series, A being where they are now. And if you can get the owner and manager and players and then finances worked out to improve your farm and things of that nature, if you can get all those pieces in the same element or the same mindset, this team can change and this team can be a World Series bound team. But it's going to take the entire organization, from the owner to the manager to the finance department working the numbers, to the farm system developing the farm, and I think that's going to be the whole thing. You know what I mean?
We're going to see, Jay. We're going to see.
All right, we're going to get into this last topic real quick. Can TCU crack the top four again? Texas. Right now, TCU is at number 7. Number 6, I believe, is...
You know who it is. Alabama.
Yes, thank you. 6 is Alabama. 5 is Clemson. Michigan. And then, Tennessee. Of course, Tennessee, Ohio, and Georgia. And I think out of that, I think Bama can slide out of there. I don't think Bama's fully solidified yet in that top 6. I don't. Hey, listen, you laugh, but they should have lost to Texas. First of all, Alabama should have 2 losses guaranteed on the resume. Ewers doesn't get hurt. I guarantee you Bama does not win. Secondly, they almost lost to A&M by 1. They won by what, 1 score? They're a very, very soft team. Very soft. On the defensive side, they're very soft. And this Alabama team can be beat. But hold on, I'm going to give you full, believe me, Shaw, I know Alabama is your squad, so I'm going to give you max, and then we're going to get out. I just want to make this couple of things known. So they're number 7 TCU. They got to play Texas, Baylor, and Texas Tech. Those are really the 3 big teams that they'll face before the end of the season. Ohio still has to play Penn State. I think Ohio beats
They're going to smash Penn State.
Oh, no, I agree. My hope and my thought process is I hope Penn State can change the narrative and pull off the upset. We know upsets are possible. So my hope is that, and again, it's a long shot. I get that. But my hope is that Penn State can beat Ohio. My hope is that Florida, I think Georgia is still kind of soft. I don't think Georgia is a true number 1. If you ask me who the true number 1 is right now, I'm going to probably go Tennessee, and I think Ohio is still a strong one, too.
Come on, Jay.
No, I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you why. Tennessee has faced better competition and won against better competition. Hell, Hooker himself put up 5 damn touchdowns, and Hyatt received 200 yards plus 5 touchdowns on Bama alone. So don't tell me that you think Ohio is better than Tennessee. I'm going to tell you you're full of shit, given that damn the only ranked team that the only ranked team that they beat was Notre Dame week 1. We all know how weak Notre Dame is. So Ohio is still an unproven entity.
How they're improving, Jay? How they're improving? Where are they ranked? Where are they ranked again? Where's the
ranked number 2? I guess they're ranked number 2. But how much do we really believe in rankings? Because if you believe in rankings, where was Alabama?
They right where they should be. They right where they should be at number 6. Jay, when Alabama lost to Tennessee, everybody with common sense knew they was not going to drop to 8. They was not going to drop no lower than where they are right now because people love Alabama. Everyone loves Alabama. You know why?
Alabama all you want. It doesn't mean a damn thing. Honestly, Tennessee is 1. Hold on. Tennessee is 1. Ohio is 2. Georgia, in my opinion, is 3. Michigan is 4. Clemson's 5. And Alabama is 6.
Yeah, I just told you because people love Alabama. Bama is not going to slip. Bama will win every last game that they got.
They're going to have to. They're going
to beat LSU, Jay. They're going to smash LSU, and then they're going to the SEC championship. That's it.
Well, again, I think it's going to be Tennessee and Georgia.
No. You know why? Because Georgia's going to beat Tennessee. Florida's going to beat Georgia. I'm letting everybody know right now. Florida is going to upset Georgia.
So my thought process, where do you see TCU at the end of this? Where do you see them ranked?
Jay, TCU's going to be out.
But where do you see them ranked? I got TCU with a 20%. Again, I'm only saying 20. I think they have a 20% chance of making it into the top 4 if a couple of upsets happen. Which most likely it probably won't. I'm just saying, do they stay at 7 or do they move higher? Is 7 their end all be all?
Well, Jay, they're number 6. Okay. Well, it's going to take this to happen. I remember this happened in the BCS era. I don't know if you probably don't remember, Jay. You're kind of old. So I think number 1 loss. This all happened on the same weekend. 1 loss, number 2 loss, 3 loss, 4 and 5 and 6 all lost the same weekend. I'm never going to forget that. And I think that's the year that LSU played Alabama in the championship. I was like, what? That can't happen. And it happened. You never know. Stranger things has happened. TCU may just magically jump in there to number 3. We know what I'm saying? We've seen crazy things happen in college football. But Alabama, as far as they're concerned, they do suck in the secondary. I told people every time I talk to them, you want to beat Alabama, just throw the ball. You're not going to beat them running, but you can beat them throwing the ball because they don't have nobody. They're receiving.
We know that Alabama's secondary though is very, very suspect. We know we've seen Alabama's secondary get burned several times.
Yes,
right?
even the wide receivers.
I've seen it. Right? Watch this. I know I've seen it because I've watched all the Alabama games and I've seen their secondary. And I think that's where they're able to be beat is throwing the ball deep against that secondary. I think that's where you beat Bama.
And then their wide receivers, it's been times with Bryce Young, he hit them guys in the hands and they dropped the ball.
Oh, I get it.
Julio Jones ain't coming back. Michi's not coming back. Ruggs is not coming back. You have to catch the ball. And that's what's going to kill Alabama right there. That's the only way Alabama will drop is if they lose these games where these players are dropping the ball. They're unnecessary penalties like did against Texas. I'm not going to forget that game against Texas. Oh, man, it was stupid. It was stupid.
Look, you got to admit, if Ewers doesn't get hurt, because look, they lost by 1 point. 1 point. And that was with the second-string quarterback of Texas. Could you imagine what they could have done had Ewers stayed that entire game? I don't think Bama walks away with the win.
Yeah, we would have won. Would have won.
You think so?
Yeah. Roll Tide.
He said roll tide. They were on a flat tire, and
We
he
would
said
have
roll tide.
won.
I hope you got a spare to get back in the champion. I really kind of hope you do, because
we will.
Alabama gets beat.
Don't worry, Jay. We're gonna get there.
Real quick, we're about an hour and a half into the show. We're gonna wrap this puppy up. We're gonna go relax, and we're gonna come back again Saturday after Game 1 of the World Series. And a little bit of college and NBA and NFL will be thrown in on Thursday. So we'll have a little smorgasbord to talk about come Saturday evening when we link up. And then, of course, we'll probably have Game 2 of the World Series going on. So I look at Saturday as being a hell of a time to be on Unscripted. It's going to be heated. It's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe Jay will be happy if the Astros are winning, or maybe Jay will be extremely sad if the Astros are losing. We'll see what version of Jay McLovin you get come Saturday. Either way, it should be a good show. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Big Shaw, final thoughts, brother, before we get out. What I know you were talking about Portland. You were talking a little NBA. What is your final thoughts, brother?
I know it's too early to say this, but Jay, my final thoughts is this. The Portland Trail Blazers are going to the Western Conference Finals. I don't care. Nobody tell me. Them guys are good, Jay. Them guys are good. I went to the game last night. Let me tell you. Again, I'm under the weather, but, man, those guys was losing to Denver. Next thing I know, Jay, they came back and put up 130 points. I know it's early in the season. I really do. I understand. But the Portland Trail Blazers is really, really tough right now. The same for the Pelicans, Boston. But I will say this, though, for, you Laker fans. Don't be surprised if the LA Lakers get starting to steamroll and start getting hot at the right minute. Remember the last time they started off slow, and where did they end up? They ended up in the NBA Finals. So you can't be like, oh man, the Lakers suck. Yeah, they're trash right now, but don't be surprised. And the Phillies, the Philadelphia Phillies, because I love Philadelphia so much, they're gonna beat the Astros in 5. I don't care what no one says. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I'm telling you, Phillies in 5. And hockey is better.
Listen, I hear you, brother. Trust me, Phillies in 5. I've heard Phillies in 6. I've heard a lot of different things. I don't think people are giving the Astros and what they bring to the table full credit. That's okay. Look, we haven't had respect as an Astros organization, I don't think ever. Honestly, even before 2017, we never really got any kind of respect put on our name. So I think at this point, I'm almost used to not getting it. But come World Series, when we clinch, I will be out there. I'll be out there all over the place. You'll see Jay McLovin in his Houston gear every single place you could imagine. Even in some places you may not imagine, I'll pop up with some Astros gear, and you will always be accepted into our family. Shaw, real quick, my final thought is this. As the NBA season comes to a close this year, when it comes to a close, and we go into the next draft, obviously Adam Silver has seriously put measures into place to keep teams from tanking, to give everybody the benefit of the shot at the lottery and who can get number 1. I think everybody within the first 5 or 6, whatever it is, gets a 14% chance at the lotto number 1 pick, and then I think it goes down from there. But certainly they're putting measures into tanking and keeping that from happening. We know that the number 1 pick, unless Jesus comes on the earth and brings us home, most likely will be that French international guy, Victor Wembanyama. Wembanyama? I can't know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's going to go number 1, but rightfully so. LeBron James called this guy an alien. He's a 7'4" alien that will play the center most likely. But
Yeah, he's an alien.
oh, he's stupid. Like, he's just incredibly gifted. I think that the Ignite had the number 2 projected guy in Scoot Henderson. Even though he has a bum knee, Scoot Henderson should come in at number 2, and then everybody else will kind of trickle down from there. I really hope and pray there's a way that the Houston Rockets can get that number 1 pick and bring Wembanyama to Houston to go along with Jabari Green or Jabari Smith and Jalen Green. I'm combining names now. And Kevin Porter Jr. and so forth. I think he's like the missing piece, and I think the Rockets can build with this young core and just be something special. So we will see what happens. Either way, 14% chance is what I'm getting at. Tanking is now going to be discouraged, and honestly, I think it's the right thing to do to avoid that from happening. It's the right thing to do. I think Adam Silver is onto something, and it's going to be amazing. Hey, Shaw, before we get out, are you going to be on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern? Are you going to be here with us?
Well, I should be. It depends on which game it's on, but I should be.
All right.
And I should be much better.
Anthony Price chimes in with Houston, baby. Houston, let's go Astros. I think that Shaw will most likely be on. He's going to want to gloat if the Astros are losing, and he's going to still want to gloat even if they're not, because that's what Shaw does. And we love Shaw. Hey, I personally want to say, if you didn't know Unscripted from day one, it was me, it was Big Shaw, and it was Logan Landers. And I'm glad to have my boy back home. I'm glad he's back in the fold. It does my heart good to see
that's right.
Big Shaw's ugly face back on the show. I love you, Big Shaw.
That's right.
All right, folks. Hey, we will catch you Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we will have lots to talk about, obviously, with what's going on. So y'all be good, be in the know, and we out.
We're out.